Hello everyone, in this tutorial we will create the sword model. I will go through all the modeling steps, add materials and lighting as well. I have also shared the link for the reference image that I will be using for this design in the video description below. So let's start. Press Shift A and add a cylinder. Change the vertices count to 48. If you want to keep it low poly, use a lower value. With the transform tool, scale up the height of the cylinder. This part will be the handle of our sword model. Rotate the view, go in edit mode and select the lower bottom face. Press S and scale down this face. Next, add another cylinder object. Move it to the top, rotate it along x-axis. You can use RX90 shortcut. Make this object slightly bigger and position it on top. Reduce the scale a little more along y-axis. Now we will add a cube object. Move it to the top. Go in edit mode and with all faces selected, right click and from the menu select subdivide. In edit mode, switch to wireframe view. Select all the faces on the left side from the center. Press X and delete them. Rotate the view and this time select all the faces on the back side. Delete them also. Switch back to solid view. We will be left with only 1/4 part of the cube. We will use a mirror modifier to add the other sides to give it the cube shape. In the mirror modifier, select both X and Y axis. If we select one vertex, you can see all the corresponding vertices move. This layout will be helpful when we model the blade of the sword. With the transform tool, increase the height of the cube, move it upwards, and also reduce the thickness. Now in the edit vertex mode, select the middle two vertices and move them up. There is one extra edge which we don't need. You can select it and remove it with Ctrl X. Now select two side vertices and move them out to define the shape of the sword blade. Move the vertices down also. Select one corner vertex. Activate the knife tool with K and make a cut from the vertex towards the center edge. You can isolate this object so we can see it better. Select three vertices on the outer side and move them in. Move the middle vertex outside. You can make any changes as you want to the design. Now add a plane object. We will use this object to build the side part of the sword. Move this object to the side and rotate it along x-axis. In the edit mode, select one outer edge and press Ctrl right click to create two connecting extruding faces. Scale down the edges. Also move the edges to further refine the shape. Ctrl R to add one more edge. Add a mirror modifier and select the middle part as mirror reference to create the other side. Turn on the Z-axis as well in the mirror modifier to generate the back side. In the edit mode, select all the outer edges. Press E and extrude them in to fill the open gap between the mirror sides. Turn on the clipping option in the modifier so the mid edge does not goes beyond the middle point. Now press Ctrl 2 to add a 2-level subdivision, right click and select Smooth Shade. Isolate the side object and turn off subdivision modifier so we can easily see the adjustments that we are going to make. In the edit mode, Ctrl R to add 2 edge loops. Shift click and select 3 faces. Press E and extrude them inside. Remove the face at the end of the object. If we turn on the subdivision modifier, we can see our object looks a bit too much smoother. In the edit mode, add 2 edges in the inner side. And 1 edge loop in the outer side to make the overall shape looking much more hard. I'm going to further refine the shape of the inner area. You can switch to X-ray mode and select all the vertices and move them. X-ray mode allows vertices in the inner side to be selected as well. I'm going to make some more adjustments to the shape. Now select all objects, press Ctrl A and apply Transform Scale. As we will be adding a bevel modifier, it will look correct. Select the middle cylinder part and in the Edit Edge mode, select the side edges on both sides. And Ctrl B to bevel them. Smooth shade the object. In the data properties, go to Normals and turn on Auto Smooth. Next, add a bevel modifier. In the shading properties, turn on Harden Normals. Slightly adjust the bevel amount. You can see with the bevel modifier, we get some nice looking extra smooth shading. Select the handle cylinder object, smooth shade and turn on auto smooth as well. Select the lower bottom face, bevel it a little, and after that add a bevel modifier and turn on harden normals on this as well. Now we are going to focus on the sword blade part. We will repeat the same steps as before. First, smooth shade, then turn on auto smooth, and then add a bevel modifier. However, one thing you may need to change here is the angle amount. Reduce it to like 13 or 15 so the bevel on the edges is shown correctly. Make some adjustments in the amount and maybe change the segments to 2 or 3 to make it much more smoother. In the edit mode, select the top vertex and move it inside. Do this for the side vertex as well. Next, shift A to add a UV sphere with 48 segments. Smooth shade it as well. To position the sphere in the middle of the cylinder part, we can either position it manually by moving it, or we can use a built-in add-on called Align Tools to position it precisely in the middle. To use the add-on, go in the Preferences add-on section, enable Align Tools. It should be visible in the sidebar in the Items category. To use it, first select the sphere you want to move and then click the cylinder. Click the XYZ button to position the sphere. It is better to assign a shortcut. The sphere will be positioned inside the cylinder. Switch to wireframe mode and select the sphere and move it outside. Add a mirror modifier. Select the Z-axis to show it on the other side. One thing I would like to make in the side part. In the edit mode, select all the vertices and rotate them a little so there is no longer a complete flat shape. This completes the modeling part of the sword. Now I will split the viewport from the corner so we can have the shaded editor on one side and the model on the other. Switch to material preview as well so we can see our shaders and material results. Starting with the blade, click New to create a new material. Change the color to slightly dark grey, make the metallic value to 1 and reduce the roughness. Next, select the handle, assign a new material, change the color to dark blue, drag this material over to the other parts as well. For the middle sphere object, assign a new material with orange color and reduce the roughness. switch the viewport to rendered. In the world properties, click the color option and select environment texture. The viewport will become pink because there is no texture assigned yet. Click open and load an HDR map. I have used a free HDR map from Polyheaven and I have provided a link for it in the video description below. You can use the same one or any other you like. Once the HDR map loads, your scene will update and the model will be using lighting from the HDR. To remove the background image and make it one solid color, in the shader editor switch to world and use the node setup that I have shown here. This node setup will keep the HDR lighting in the scene but will remove the image that is showing in the background. You can also change the background color from here as well. One small adjustment I would like to make to the sword blade material: add a color ramp and a noise texture node. Connect the factor from the noise to the color ramp and the color point of the ramp to the roughness property. Change the slider color of the wind point so our roughness is no longer very smooth. Reduce the noise scale as well. For the mid-sphere material, I will change the emission color to orange and change the value to much higher, like 25. Now go in render properties, turn on ambient occlusion. Set the amount to something like 3 or 4. This will add shadow depth at those areas where different parts of the sword are connecting. Turn on bloom, change the color as well and reduce the intensity. If you need high resolution shadows, increase the size to 2048 or more. And last of all, in the color management, change the look to high contrast. From here, you can further work on this sword and add your own unique touches. To create a rotating animation of the sword, I have used the built-in add-on called Turnaround Camera. You can check my tutorial for it if you want to know how it works. And this completes the tutorial. I hope you find this useful in some way. If you like to see more content in the future, then please consider subscribing and giving this video a like. Thank you very much and I will see you in the next video.